In the heart of Lagos, where the nights pulse with music and temptation, two teenagers, Elle and Tolu, walked a path many feared but few dared to tread. They were best friends, bonded by the shared rhythm of rebellion and a craving for something bigger than the drudgery of public school and endless chores. At 17, Elle had already mastered the art of deception. Her smile could melt suspicion, her eyes sparkled with secrets. Tolu was quieter but just as wild beneath her calm exterior. When Elle got her hands on an old ID and used it to sneak into a buzzing nightclub in Lekki, it wasn't long before Tolu followed. That night changed everything. The music was deafening, the air thick with perfume and sweat. Flashing lights cast kaleidoscopic shadows over the crowd of dancing bodies. To the girls, it felt like freedom. No teachers, no parents, no rules, just rhythm, drinks in plastic cups, and strangers who complimented them like they were queens. Soon, their attendance in school became sporadic. Homework lay untouched, uniforms wrinkled and forgotten. Their parents, overwhelmed by work and the chaos of city life, didn't notice the shift, at least not at first. What started as one night out became every weekend, then midweek too. And with each passing week, their world grew darker behind the glitter. Ada's grades plummeted. She stopped coming home early, her lies sharper, more confident. Tolu, the more cautious of the two, felt the unease creeping in but was too loyal to walk away. They both started receiving expensive gifts, designer shoes, cash, even smartphones, from older men they barely knew. But there was something behind the charm of those nightclub nights. A shadow they hadn't seen creeping in. One evening, as they were getting ready in Ada's room, Tolu hesitated. Her hands trembled slightly as she applied lipstick. "Ada," she whispered, "do you ever wonder if this is going too far?" Ada scoffed. "Going too far? This is what we've always wanted, no one telling us what to do, no one controlling us. We're living." Tolu nodded, but her reflection in the mirror didn't smile back. That night, they were invited to a private party in Banana Island. "Top clients," the bouncer had said, tapping his nose and winking. The ride there was silent. Tolu's heart raced, but Ada's face was lit with excitement. They didn't know it yet, but that night would mark the beginning of the end. A secret room, a locked door, and a man who didn't take no for an answer. What began as a night of thrills would descend into something darker, something irreversible. Sometimes, the things that glitter the brightest, hide the deepest danger. And when you abandon the light for the shadows, you may never find your way back. The house in Banana Island was nothing like the small flats Ada and Tolu were used to. It towered over the street, surrounded by high walls and cameras that blinked like watching eyes. Inside, everything sparkled: glass chandeliers, white marble floors, velvet couches. It was the kind of luxury that made you forget where you came from. At first, the party seemed harmless. Music, drinks, and older men dressed like they owned the world. Ada blended in immediately, laughing, dancing, sipping something fizzy and sweet from a champagne flute. But Tolu stayed near the walls, scanning faces, heart thudding louder than the speakers. Then he walked in. Tall. Dressed in a crisp white kaftan. Everyone deferred to him. The way the room shifted when he entered sent a chill through Tolu's spine. Ada's eyes lit up when he looked their way. "You're Ada?" he asked smoothly, his voice low and commanding. Ada nodded. "This is my friend, Tolu." He barely glanced at Tolu. "Come, let's talk privately." Tolu touched Ada's arm. "Maybe we should stay together." Ada pulled away. "Relax. I'll be fine. Don't embarrass me." She disappeared down a corridor with him. Tolu waited. 15 minutes. Then 30. She asked the waiter where Ada had gone. The man just shook his head and walked away. Panicked, Tolu wandered the hallways until she found a locked door. From inside, she heard muffled voices. She knocked. No answer. Then a sudden scream. She ran. She didn't know what else to do. She burst out the front doors and down the street, barefoot, her heels forgotten. She didn't stop running until she reached the main road, waving down a passing Kiki. Back home, she cried for hours, unsure what to do. Ada didn't come back that night. Or the next. When she finally did, something had changed. Her eyes were empty, her laugh hollow. She refused to speak about that night. Tolu begged her to open up. Tell me what happened. Please. I know it wasn't okay. We can report it. Ada snapped. Report what? That I went there willingly. That I drank their drinks, wore their dress, smiled at their cameras. No one will believe me, Tolu. They never do. Tolu cried. Ada didn't. Their friendship grew quiet. At school, rumors started swirling. Pictures of Ada in the man's lap surfaced online, leaked from someone's phone. Parents whispered. Teachers turned cold. Ada stopped showing up altogether. One afternoon, Tolu stood in the principal's office, her parents on either side. The counselor had found something disturbing in Tolu's phone, a message from one of the men at the party, sent weeks before. That was the final straw. The school suspended both girls. Tolu's parents wept. Ada's mother slapped her across the face the moment she stepped into the house, unaware of the deeper pain already bruising her daughter's soul. And in the quiet that followed, both families began to unravel. The neighborhood turned cold. Whispers followed Ada's mother at the market. That's the girl's mother, they'd murmur, shaking their heads. In church, no one sat beside them anymore. At home, Ada barely left her room. Her once vibrant laughter had faded into silence. She didn't eat much, didn't sleep well. Her mother thought it was shame. But it was something deeper, something broken. Tolu, on the other hand, was caught between guilt and fear. Her parents had grounded her indefinitely. Her phone was confiscated. No more social media. No more hanging out after school. But none of it mattered, because school was gone too. Their suspension was indefinite. They were the warning, what other girls were told not to become. One evening, Tolu's father entered her room with a heavy sigh. He sat at the edge of her bed, face lined with worry. You're not a bad child, he said, voice trembling. But there are things in this world you're not ready to understand. Those men, that life, it's not for you. Tolu blinked back tears. I didn't mean for any of it to happen. I just wanted to have fun. Just one night. That's how it starts, he whispered. Just one night. Meanwhile, Ada's family was cracking. Her father, who had been away working in Port Harcourt, returned only to find his daughter's face splashed on a gossip blog. He exploded in rage, screaming, breaking the glass center table, calling her names she didn't recognize. Her younger siblings watched from the corner, confused, scared. Her mother tried to defend her, but it was too late. The trust in the family shattered like broken glass. Days passed. Then weeks. Tolu tried to reach out to Ada, but the calls went unanswered. She even stopped by the house, but the gate remained shut. The neighborhood gateman simply said, Madam say make nobody disturb her daughter again. Then came the worst news. Ada had attempted to take her life. The news broke through the community like wildfire. She'd been rushed to the hospital after her mother found her unconscious, an empty bottle of pills beside her bed. She survived, but barely. And now she was in a psychiatric ward, undergoing evaluation. Some said she was mad. Others whispered that demons had entered her because of her waywardness. Tolu's heart shattered. She sat in her room that night, staring at the ceiling, trembling with grief and confusion. How did it come to this? Just two friends who wanted to have fun. Who wanted to feel beautiful, wanted to be seen. Now one was broken, the other haunted. The next day, she asked her parents to take her to Ada. They hesitated, but finally agreed. At the hospital, Tolu found her friend staring blankly at the wall. She reached out and held her hand. "I'm so sorry, Ada," she whispered, tears rolling down her face. "We should have never gone." Ada blinked slowly. Then whispered, barely audible, "I just wanted to matter." In that moment, Tolu understood that this story wasn't just about punishment. It was about pain. About being young and unguarded in a world too cruel for innocence. Ada didn't say much after that. Most of her days were spent staring through the window, watching the sun stretch lazily across the hospital lawn. Doctors said it would take time. Healing isn't magic, it's slow, heavy, and sometimes ugly. Tolu visited every week. Each time, she brought a small piece of their old life, photos, handmade bracelets, that funny chicken keychain Ada once loved. Sometimes Ada smiled. Sometimes she just nodded. But she never let go of Tolu's hand again. Meanwhile, the community was changing. The viral video that once mocked the girls now fueled serious conversations. A local parent group began organizing town meetings. A pastor brought in a counselor to talk to teenagers. Parents, for the first time, started asking their children real questions about peer pressure, about loneliness, about curiosity. Tolu, suspended but not expelled, returned to school 3 months later. She walked through the gates with her head bowed, classmates whispering. But she didn't care anymore about their stares. All that mattered now was telling the truth. Her first act was joining the school's drama club. At the end-of-year assembly, she stood on stage and performed a spoken-word piece titled "The Night That Changed Us." Her voice cracked but didn't break. She told their story, not with shame, but with a message. "We were not bad girls," she said. "We were just left alone for too long in a world moving too fast." Parents in the crowd cried. Teachers clapped, some shaking their heads at the system that had failed to guide. Afterward, a woman approached Tolu, Ada's mother. She hugged her tightly and whispered, "Thank you for not forgetting her." Ada came home 2 weeks later. She wasn't the same. Something inside her had shifted. She spoke softly now, like someone learning how to walk again. Her mother enrolled her in an art therapy program. Tolu and Ada started spending weekends painting together in the small garden behind Ada's house. Sometimes they didn't speak. Sometimes they laughed again. But they always stayed close, like two souls who had seen too much and still held on. One Saturday afternoon, while painting a blurry sunset, Ada said, "Maybe it's not about being who we were. Maybe it's about becoming someone better." Tolu nodded. "We just need to keep choosing right. Even when it's hard." In that quiet moment, they weren't victims. They weren't rebels. They were just girls, young, healing, and learning to live with their scars. This isn't just a story about two teenagers who went clubbing and got caught. It's a warning. A plea. A mirror held up to every parent, guardian, teacher, and mentor. In a world filled with screens, noise, and temptations, young hearts need more than rules, they need presence. They need conversations. They need love wrapped in wisdom. Technology isn't evil. Curiosity isn't a sin. But when guidance is absent, even the brightest light can wander into shadows. Parents, don't just buy the phone. Be the guide. Don't just ask, "Where are you?" Ask, "How are you?" Because sometimes, the smallest questions can save the loudest lives.